Black Channel. After all their faking and fronting and hemming and hawing, their backs were put to the wall, and the Democrats have finally had to show their true colors about reparations and black empowerment. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, follow up on our program from last night, Dateline, California, which has become the front line of the fight for reparations and economic justice. For we as the descendants of American slaves here. And I could say a lot of things, but I'll just show you something instead. And I want you all to have everything in this proper perspective. I could say a lot to you, but let me show you something instead. This is from ABC 10. This is from ABC Channel 10. And by the way, before we even get started on that, fair use, YouTube, ABC, and others, fair use. I want you all to see what they're reporting out there.
Live over the state capitol, where the legislative session is wrapping up tonight, and lawmakers are deciding the fate of bills that haven't passed yet. We're just minutes away until the California legislative session comes to a close. Both houses had fewer than 200 bills combined left to go through. Some of the bills dealing with reparations. ABC 10's Garsh Paul-Sung.
That's the first thing I want to point out to you all, that by the way, of all the things he just said, we got 200 bills to go over, and yet they were transfixed on reparations. This is a conversation that simply did not exist outside of we here in the new Black Media a decade ago. We go to the very beginning. Even here on the Black Channel, we've been talking about reparations the whole time. This is a conversation that simply was not occurring. Now it's taken over the airwaves, which means, of course, they had to take action.
Joining us live from the state capitol to explain more on this very busy day. We still see people behind you in the rotunda there, Garsh Paul.
Yeah, Luke, and this place is buzzing with anticipation to try to figure out what is the status of their bill. And we are officially less than an hour away until we find out what the results are going to be of all the bills that they haven't voted on. If it is passed, it is going to go to the Governor Newsom's office to see if he will sign or not. But if it doesn't, it is going to die on the House floor. So we're trying to figure that out. But the biggest buzz in this building were bills that weren't voted on, like funding reparations.
Folks, this is not Jason Black talking. This is not YouTubers talking. This is not the Black Media talking. This is ABC Channel 10 telling you, by the way, the biggest buzz in the State House is about reparations. That's them. I have told you since the beginning, because you can have internet hype men and propagandists and anything else sitting up here talking. Maybe they're giving you information. Maybe they're giving you disinformation. Well, Jason, how do we know what's reliable? Don't listen to me. Listen to them. I don't own ABC 10. This is them in California. They're not getting paid by us. They're letting you know, hey, we're here on the last night of the legislative session, and the joint is jumping, and the biggest buzz is about 2 bills that aren't even up. The 2 bills that have been left out. That's what the biggest buzz going on in that building is over. That's not me talking. That's not hype. That's not hyperbole. That's not gearing up for a documentary film or advertising something. This is your corporate media saying, yeah, we're here to report tonight and we can't get away from it. A conversation that simply wasn't occurring before. Yeah, they can try to ignore your existence for a while. They can try it. They can go for it. I told you all a decade ago, they're going to try to pretend that we don't exist, and they're going to pray to whatever deities they believe in that we're going to disappear. And when that doesn't happen, then they're going to have to buckle down and batten down the hatches because it's about to be a rough ride. This is them talking, not me talking. This is them saying that everything we've told you is correct.
Sign or not, but if it doesn't, it is going to die on the House floor. So we're trying to figure that out. But the biggest buzz in this building were bills that weren't voted on, like funding reparations. The final hours of the California legislative session kicking into overdrive as lawmakers try to get their bills approved. On Sunday, lawmakers passed landmark bills to make amends for racism. The proposal they approved allows for the return of land or compensation to families whose property was unfairly taken by the government.
Okay, so, what did pass? Well, you got one step in the right direction, which is having these things codified into law, although the devil is always in the details. Bruce's Beach, and you all know that I didn't like the way that went down. Now, Bruce's Beach, now today called Manhattan Beach, and I've been there. Bruce's Beach, I'm not happy about that because that's prime real estate. And anybody who has been out El Segundo and down on the Bruce's Beach, you can see the airport from there. Little oil refinery, as a matter of fact, heading toward that direction. That's prime real estate right there on the beach. And by the way, it's gorgeous. It's not pretty, it's gorgeous when the sun is setting out there. Absolutely gorgeous, prime real estate. And the family never had a chance to get their land back. That whole thing was a setup. They were never intended to get the land. The whole thing was a setup. We're going to give money. They're supposed to get their money and their land back. So what they did was they handicapped it and set it up. And I told y'all from the beginning that was what it was going to be. Because I'm like, wait a minute, about that land. Because otherwise, all you have is sand. And you've already put other structures there. They need to have an easement and a right to develop it. Because it was already developed before you had an airport out there or anything else. Now you want to yell about you can't. Oh, there's an airport and airspace. Not our problem. That's your fault. Not our problem. So they set it up so that, yeah, they gave them a check, but they're supposed to get a check and their land back. Reparations across the board. They're supposed to get their land back. The money is what you owe them for everything they've been deprived of not having their land. They're supposed to get their land and then get compensation for what you have deprived them of. That's why I don't like that, because I'm like, okay, I see how you're trying to set this up now. It's going to be where black folk in California, the only thing you can do, okay, well, we may give you a check. It might be adjusted for inflation and punitive damages, and again, it may not. But then after we give you the check, now what? What are you going to do with that in modern day Los Angeles? Or San Diego or wherever? No, not the land. The land and the money. We're supposed to get both. You owe damages for what you have done. The land belongs to us already. You ain't doing me a favor giving the land back. That doesn't belong to you. You're not doing us a favor or doing us some special charity giving the land back. That's my land. Don't let them sit up here and play the Jedi mind trick on you that somehow they're doing you some extra. No, they're not. That's already our land. And you owe us damages for what we have been deprived. That's where the check come in. When we talk about reparations, is what were we deprived? We were deprived of money. So when I hear them talking about paying people for land that was taken from them, I'm like, okay, but what about the land? oh, well, you see, we'll see if we can get you something out there in desert cities. We'll see if we can do something. We'll see if we can get you something out there in Indio. We'll see if we can do something about that. So I know I'm stopping it here, and I don't want to break up the news piece too much, but I wanted to stop there to put that in its proper context so I don't have to come back to that later. But that's why that land thing, I'm like, the land thing is important, but I don't want you to lose the context of it.
And in a formal apology for laws and passed landmark bills to make amends for racism. The proposal they approved allows for the return of land or compensation to families whose property was unfairly taken by the government, and in a formal apology for laws and practices that harmed black people. But the buzz surrounding the reparation bills package was over what wasn't addressed: direct payments.
We laid the foundation that those bills are critically important to, stand up what reparations.
Yeah, this dude, we gonna come back to it, but I know what some of y'all are thinking, especially out there in California. Yeah, I know. This dude, we gonna come back to it in just a minute.
Surrounding the reparation bills package was over what wasn't addressed: direct payments.
We laid the foundation that those bills are critically important to, stand up what reparations would be here in the state of California.
State Senator Stephen Bradford authored SB 1403, aims to establish the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency, while SB 1331 funds reparations. Both were not voted on.
We should have gotten it to the governor's desk. He never signaled he would veto the bill. He just said he had some concerns, as they have with many bills. But that doesn't mean you don't move forward with the bills, because, you can fix them.
The California Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill.
Did you hear that?
The Legislative Black Caucus.
You can fix them.
The California Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill. The California Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill.
Well, the governor didn't say that he would veto it, but he didn't say he passed it either. Yeah, because y'all went in the back room and said, "Oh, we ain't gonna pass none of this, right? Yeah, we ain't gonna do about that." And then what does the man tell you? By the way, the Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill. What? So let us be very clear about who the villains are and who the culprits are here. It's not Trump. It's not MAGA. It's not the alt-right. You can't blame them for this. This is all a bunch of Democrats sitting among a bunch of other Democrats talking about something here that the Republicans have no power to stop or anything. And what do you know? When the Democrats have all eyes on them, they act just like the Republicans. Well, what has Malcolm X told you? We've been telling you forever. They're one and the same. Their job is to fool you into thinking that the little old irrelevant bullcrap they doing for you will help you down the line. Then when you come up and say, "I know exactly what I need, pass this right here." Oh, well, it sure is rough on this right here. We could pass it, but we can't pass it. We don't know how we're going to pass it. We don't know what we're going to do. So please understand, can't blame this on Trump now. All the Democrat ass kissers, you can't blame this on Trump, MAGA, or nothing else. The Democrats have a supermajority in California's legislature. That means the Democrats did this. However, you don't see that kind of fight happen for the illegals. They're not even supposed to be here. And yet you don't hear about anybody pulling their bills. And they shouldn't even get anything. You're not even supposed to be here. It's against the law for you to even be standing there. And yet they're not getting the same treatment. Don't you understand that we have been set aside for particular persecution, which is why we need reparations.
You can fix them.
The California Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill because it said the proposal needs more work.
The bills that pass are not reparations. An apology is not reparations.
Chris Lodgeson, a reparation activist with Coalition for Just and Equitable California.
The only bills today that even had a chance of being core reparations or could even get us to reparations are the bills that did not pass. It's one thing if we go up for a vote and we lose. Oh, all right. It's one thing if we go up for a vote, we win, and it gets to the governor's desk, and the governor vetoes it.
Supporters of the reparations say they're not giving up despite the setback.
It has to happen if we're going to have meaningful reparations to the people who deserve it.
Okay, but you can't put him out here talking about, oh, it had to happen, and you pull the bill, as opposed to forcing Gavin Newsom to make a decision. See, this is how we know that you all are the villains in the Legislative Black Caucus out there in California. You should have put that in front of Newsom and make him make that decision. Instead, we know you got together with him and he sat up here and told his Negro flunkies, all right, now you get out there, you better pull that down now. And you better not bring no heat over here. You better pull that down. And so he forced them to go ahead and do it. And they willingly went along with it in order to take the attention off of Newsom. Instead of putting it in Newsom's hands and forcing him to make that decision, okay, no. So you know who runs things out there. Now you know who runs these Negroes. But as a reminder to you all, this is good. What? People, I said it last night and I say it again. This is good. This is exactly what we want. I prefer my white supremacists honest. I have never been afraid of an honest white supremacist. I have sat eyeball to eyeball in front of Jared Taylor, Richard Spencer. Right after the Charlottesville white supremacist riots, I'm looking them dead in the eye. And I didn't act like Roland Martin about it either. Damn! And I wasn't afraid for them to speak their piece exactly the way they said it. I prefer my white supremacists honest, straight down the middle. No shucking and jiving, no Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. I would prefer them straight. No chaser. And I prefer my coons and my buck dancers that way too. I want my coons and my buck dancers to put on their tap shoes, grab their banjo, get their thistle hat, and start dancing that damn jig like there's no tomorrow. I prefer for them to be straight up so we can all see who you are. So there's no ambiguity and there's no argument about what you did. See, this is what I mean by it's a new day. There's a whole bunch of folks here, as I've told you now for the course of going on 2 decades. Whole bunch of people claim that they were so-called black militants, claim that they were so-called black power folk, claim that they were so-called Black Panthers, and can't nobody find no record of your damn work. There's no evidence, no documents. The paperwork doesn't exist, which is why I prefer this era. So that everybody, whatever you saying, it's documented. You can't pretend that you did something you didn't, and you ain't gonna be able to lie about what you did not do. And ABC Channel 10 is not gonna set the narrative for you folk. We gonna set the narrative for it. You pulled the bill. No, we're not sitting up here listening to no stalling tactics. Oh, well, we can always bring it back. It was up here tonight. We're not falling for that. So now you got to go on the record and you can't hide from it. Something they used to be able to do. The Charlie Rangels and the Congressional Black Caucus, they're accustomed to doing these little old slime ball ass backstabbing things they've been doing for decades, and then being able to hide their hands behind legislation, and we couldn't look up the vote and who voted for it and who voted against it. Now, oh, we're catching you in real time. It's like, oh, there you are. Hey, we standing right outside the door. You know you need to go in there and go vote for that, right? This is what was happening out there. This is them walking out. This is what was happening. Hard time on them. And don't they all look like a bunch of old boule niggas? Oh, I mean, they came dressed for it. I mean, look at them. You can see. You can see them. I mean, they look dressed for the part. You can see. I'm talking about, look, we talk about body language. This is buck dancing body language. You can see it. I don't even have to tell you who sold us out. All I got to do is show you this picture right here. You're like, oh, there they go. There they go. I don't even have to tell you what they were voting on. All I got to do is tell you, spot the folk who sold us out. Oh, okay. That ain't hard. They're worried about it, and they should be.
We go out for a vote and we lose. Oh, all right. It's one thing if we go out for a vote, we win, and it gets to the governor's desk, and the governor vetoes it.
Supporters of the reparations say they're not giving up despite the setback.
It has to happen if we're going to have meaningful reparations to the people who deserve it. We're 160 years overdue for this.
And just a few hours ago, there was a glimmer of hope that those two bills that were not heard, they would be heard, but that hope quickly evaporated. So a lot of people that were protesting here disappointed with that outcome. Now, another bill that we're keeping a close eye on is SB 1414. That would make it a felony to purchase a child for sex. That is what we're waiting on over this.
Okay, you see what happened there. Okay, let's go ahead and move on there. They want to try to move on. Here's the problem. This is not a political movement going on. This is a social movement. Social movements are not beholden to the calendar of the legislature. That's the issue. We're not beholden to that. The LA Times trying to put a spin on it. California Democrats talk the big game on reparations. They're off to a slow start. They're not off to a slow start. They think that they're going to do the same old smoke and mirrors that they've always done. Well, can we throw a crumb? Can we throw some tokenism? They're not throwing the illegals no crumbs. They're giving them whole loaves and been doing it now for over a decade. Remember, I'm the guy who brought to y'all the story originally that the sheriff in Los Angeles said that, oh, we're not going to seize cars and impound cars of illegal aliens because they need to get to work. So if they don't have insurance, we're not going to impound their car for breaking the law. First of all, they're breaking the law just being in the country. You're going to allow them to break federal law and California law. Oh, if they don't have insurance, we're not going to take their car because they needed to get to work. So everybody else doesn't? Now, that's special treatment for a non-citizen? What the hell kind of wacky world is this? So when you show up, all of a sudden, they got all the excuses in the world. And it's like, okay, what we've done is force them to just come out with it. You just had to come out and just say, look, we ain't gonna pass this damn thing, pull this damn thing over here, so that we can identify our enemies openly. So we can identify our adversaries openly. The one thing they did not want happening, they don't want it to be black and white. The whole idea was that they would do this and sweep it under the rug and nobody really knows what's going on. And unfortunately for them, folk were watching. So what they've now been put on notice that this isn't going to go away. Stalling isn't going to help. All it's really done is put you more on the hot seat. That's all it's done, is put you more on the hot seat. Speaking of villains, by the way, the guy you saw there, Stephen Bradford, one of the chief villains in this affair, didn't like the fact that he got his close up. So this was him on Twitter. I is doing everything I can to bring SB 1403 and SB 1331 up for a vote before tonight's hit deadline. He said that, and then literally they sit up here and tell you, by the way, they pulled the vote. That's literally what they told you. Now this is him on Twitter. I'm doing everything I can to bring these bills up for a vote. Meanwhile, in the real world,
That doesn't mean you don't move forward with the bills because, you can fix them.
The California Legislative Black Caucus pulled the bill because it said the proposal needs more work.
Right after he said they're doing everything they can to bring it up for a vote. They're doing everything they can except bring it up for a vote. Then he went back in front of the cameras. Oh, that don't mean we can't get it. We working on it. I pulled the bill. See, I'm working on the bill by pulling it. I appreciate the community support and passion, but please keep this focus on the issue. We are focused on the issue. Threats and harassment directed at lawmakers won't help. Supporting you doesn't help either. Folk down here, they've been passing this around too, by the way. About who it is who's been responsible for this stuff. They're not going to play this shell game where they sit in front of you and, oh yeah, I'm so in favor of it. And then as soon as they walk in the room, I pull the bill. We don't know who voted against it. We don't know who pulled the bill. We don't know who did that. Now it's had to go on the record that, yeah, you're the one who did it. Well, see, it can be improved. It doesn't need to be improved. We told you bring it up for a vote. See, I want y'all to understand that's something that they're not used to. This is what I mean by you have a political movement and a social movement going on. The political movement here is to force them to get on the record and to force the governor to veto those two things in specific. That's a political tactic. That's a campaign ad. You want to talk about having a PAC and a campaign ad? You sit up here and say Governor Newsom vetoed reparations. Governor Newsom vetoed the Freedmen's Agency. That's a billboard. That's an ad. Their job was to prevent that from occurring. So now Newsom can go out there. Well, I didn't veto it now. It never made it to my desk. That's going to be what they'll say next. Gavin Newsom is going to say next, oh, the bill never made it to my desk. I was never given a chance to evaluate it, even though everybody's saying that he'd already told them that he didn't like it. You already evaluated it. That's why they pulled it. Now, when he comes back, these old fork-tongued snakes are going to tell you all, oh, I never actually saw the bill. They pulled it before I could actually get it. I don't know what the bill actually said. So, I don't know. That's what they're going to say. We've become politically savvy and understand that if we force you to make decisions, that's what we hold over you. We don't have to sit up here and talk about what you may have done or might have done. If we bring this stuff to a vote, the whole thing was, let me tell y'all the brilliance of last night. The political brilliance of last night. When you got some of these issues in some places where they favor abortion for whatever insane psychopathic reason, but in places where they want to favor abortion, they want to get folks on the spot and make them vote against it, to veto it or whatever, to take a position. So now they can hold that against you on election day. Not that you just have an opinion, but that you actually took a policy position and voted against it. The real thing was, yes, it's important to get these bills passed, but if they don't, it is also important to bring them up for a vote because it forces these people to actually go on the record where they can no longer pretend that they're on your side of supporting you. Now you got them dead to rights. So in that context, they were pushing for it. Whether the bill got signed or whether it didn't, you win either way. You either get the bill passed into law or you get the culprits who are really against it on the record so they can no longer lie and come at you and say, I'm really on your side, right? I really am. You weren't on our side 2 minutes ago when you pulled the bill, when you vetoed it, Governor Newsom. You weren't on our side then. Now that's smart politics. That is politically sophisticated. You did this, you got all eyes on them. That's politically sophisticated. That's the way you're supposed to do it. So that you win no matter what happens with it. That's smart politics. That's something that hasn't happened before. The civil rights generation, they told them, okay, this will pass, and if something wasn't, well, that won't pass, so we need to just go ahead and pull that. And the civil rights generation said, okay, go ahead and pull it then. We's gonna go home and we shall overcome. We said, nope. Hey, Governor Newsom, yeah, whether it passes or not, I just want you to pass your vote on it. What? Why I gotta do that? We just want to see what you're gonna say on the record. So are you gonna vote for it or are you gonna veto it? Are you gonna sign it or are you gonna veto it? Well, think about this right over here. We got a lot of things going on. Yeah, you just got one thing right now. Are you gonna sign it or are you gonna veto it? Either way, that's fine. Can I just go ahead and get your signature one way or the other? Sign it or veto it. That's brilliant. That's the way you are supposed to do it. That's what I have been advocating for going on now 2 decades. That is smart politicking. You either force them to pass it or force them to admit that they are at war against you. And from there, you don't have to fight over a bill anymore. Now you can sit up here and say, this person is against us and this is what he did. And that's brilliant for we as a people showing that if you want to know how you make politics work, that's how you make it work. What they did last night, that's how you make it work, because bad news for the bootlicks. Oh, it's bad news for the bootlicks. Y'all got to understand. There's a reason why they grab these crash dummies. Y'all got to understand that. Whether it's Keisha Bottom B,
Auntie, chill.
Andrew Diggum Gillum, damn, Stacey Big Body Abrams, what? You got to understand, these Negroes sit around here and they just want to get near these folk so that hopefully if things go one way or the other, they can get them some little political job somewhere. But they pull niggas every day, man. They pull them every day. Lori drunk Uncle Lightfoot. They pull them every day. Your job is to be the cannon fodder. Your job is to be the crash dummy and crash out for them. That's their job, is to sacrifice themselves for Big Daddy at the top. That's their job. And Stephen Bradford, that's what he's there for. He woke up last night and he got that phone call. All right, Stephen. Yeah, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have to take the fall for this. If you allow that bill to come to my desk, here's how it goes here, Stephen. If that bill comes to my desk, you know some of that dirty little illegal stuff you doing behind the scenes?
Nigga, please.
You know, we might have to open that folder up on you, Stephen. So we can do this one of 2 ways. You can either go ahead and go with the program, and you might get voted out of office. Then again, you might make it through. Or you can push this damn bill, and I'll make sure you don't get reelected. So what's it gonna be? You can vote against them Negroes, and you might lose your seat because you vote against them and they come after you, or you send that bill to my desk and I come after you. What's it gonna be? Well, you don't have to get the snippet out of there, Gavin. You no. I'm gonna do what you need me to do. This nigga head looking like a lightning bug, and sitting up here trying to talk out of both sides of his mouth. I just want to show you what's going on his Twitter page, by the way. Just want to show you that. Take a look at this. He's trying to explain all the way through it. I did not ask for the bills to be moved to the inactive file in the assembly. I did not want that to happen. I want the bills to be voted on. We all know what the hell's going on. We all know what's going on. This is what by the way, this is what he was talking about the day before, or a couple days before. My SB 1348 is headed to the governor's desk. Now listen to this, y'all. This legislation will create an official state designation recognizing colleges and universities that commit to enhancing black student success. These black serving institutions will improve the historic disparities we see in higher education. See, there's where the damn problem comes in. Ain't nobody checking for the HBCU hustle no more. We know that that's a damn lie you all keep telling. You keep running around doing that. Every time we turn around, you keep going around doing that. Here you come back about education. We didn't ask you about no damn scholarships. Didn't ask you about no education grants. We didn't say a damn thing about that. So y'all notice at whether it's the federal level or the state level, they think these folks here, y'all gotta understand, they've got a Candyland Mr. Charlie attitude toward all of us. And this is the reason why, quite frankly, you got a problem with old niggas. You also got a problem with old white folk. The old white folk think all of us are, as Ice-T said, just one big nigga. So even though very clearly that education thing being something that's a reward or a benefit doesn't work for our generation, they still think about us the way they do the civil rights generation. That flew for them. That was big for them. They still think about, damn me, a different world in the Cosby Show. They think that's where we still at. 1985. They literally think that we're all just sitting around getting ready to sing and dance an episode of A Different World or Spike Lee's School Days. That's what they think. So that's why they keep thinking that they're going to offer up that token and offer up that phony currency. Oh, well, hey, we'll increase money to education. I said, hand the money over here. Well, we can give it to a HBCU. I didn't say give it to no damn HBCU. I'll take care of it. HBC me. So they're going to try to hand out those wolf tickets because that's what worked for the civil rights generation. That worked on them. That pulled the wool over on them. They still haven't updated their files on us yet, although last night was a big-ass wake-up call. Folks, all I'm saying is if you think you didn't make a difference, don't believe Jason. Jason could just be overhyping it for the purposes of making you think something. This nigga ain't been back to post anything on Twitter since. He understands last night was a watershed moment. And this sentence right here, I did not ask for the bills to be moved. He's like, hey, I'm the one catching the heat. He's upset because he's the one catching the heat. And he's not the only one. He is not the only one. I just want to put this in its proper context for you all to understand. Don't believe Jason. He ain't come back yet. That's it. He's at a standstill. He's frozen like a deer in the headlights after last night. Now, the other thing is they think a holiday is going to get them off the hook. They think a holiday is going to get them off the hook. And that's not going to work. That is not going to work. Do not think that a holiday is going to get the attention off of you. We're going to be right there Tuesday morning. But it does show you that, yeah, that was not a good look. And they are very much worried that, yeah, you going to have to take the fall for this. You going to have to take the fall for this. If you wanted to know whether or not our efforts were bearing fruit and whether or not it was going to make a difference, don't believe me. Look at them. They're the ones saying it. They're the ones saying it. That's why I played this clip last night with Ice Cube.
just to vote. You vote because you're getting something or your community is getting something. So everybody that's telling you that, man, look at them and say, what are you getting? Because people that just want you to vote and not ask for nothing, people that's in power that want you to vote but don't want you to get anything or not asking for you to get anything economically, they suspect.
Well, they ain't just suspect, they convicted. So Senator Bradford here is feeling the heat. He got real popular on Twitter in all the wrong ways. He's gotten real popular on Twitter in every which wrong way you can imagine. He wanted to be more high profile. That's not what he wanted. And if you all are wondering, take a look at how many engagements and comments he usually gets. Back July 20th, take a look at that. 318, 5,000, 3,000, 316, 818. By the way, this one right here deserves its own commentary. Don't have time right now, but deserves its own commentary. My reparations bill, what do you know, spiked 10,000. So before then, 316, 818, 10,000, 30 comments. He didn't get any comments on this one. No comments on this one. No comments on this one. 3,000 engagement, which you have to define what it is. I won't go into it right now. That doesn't necessarily mean views. 6 comments. 5,000 engagements, 6 comments. Soon as he mentions reparations, boom! 10,000 with 30 comments, 95 retweets, 142 likes. Not even close. Not even close. Very clear. All of a sudden, folks are watching you when you're talking about this. Very next thing he puts up, back about it again. He's like, he's on his way to the governor. I even brought you some visual aids. Don't blame me when I pull this bill. Keep watching the visual aid. Don't blame me. Well, this bill is part of our reparations package with other vital bills. Okay. Well, we got restitution for land taken, racially motivated use of eminent domain. Okay. That's great. That's necessary. And what else? Well, we're going to pull the rest of it. Wait a minute. Then he goes back to talking about HBCUs. Plummets. 6 comments. It plummets. Then you take a look at last night. It spiked out of this damn world. You take a look at last night and it spiked out of this world. Then you take a look at later, an hour after that or so, spikes again. He can very clearly see, look at the dozens of comments, dozens and dozens of comments, reposts. It ain't good. He's being hung out to dry and it ain't good. This isn't me talking. This is him speaking. You want to know if it had an impact? You want to know if they heard every damn syllable? Ask Senator Stephen Bradford of California. State Senator Stephen Bradford of California. Ask him. He's the one on Twitter splaining. I would be remiss if I did not touch upon this. I would be remiss if I didn't. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know y'all saw it and everything, and that's fine by me. It's perfectly fine when they're showing their B-roll. For those of you who don't know what B-roll is, B-roll means anything that is not an interview subject, basically, is what B-roll is. So all these other pictures they're showing,
American Affair Agency,
and you take a look and see here, it ain't lost on me. I seen them. There's a reason why I wanted to show you all this video, because in this video and in other places, by the way, I just want you all to know this is what it means to be a social movement. I am not a citizen of the state of California, and yet the intellectual firepower that was necessary to get us to this point got sent all the way from the boot. And they picked it up, and that's what it's supposed to be. In no uncertain terms, in no uncertain terms. Cut the check. That's what it's supposed to be.
Both were not voted on.
My job is simply here. Maybe I have a little bit better ability to communicate and to be able to package a message. Okay, if you're going to have that, give it to the people in a manner in which they can use it. And I told you all, the whole reason that I coined the phrase cut the check was because people got real squeamish. When we talked about reparations, those of us here in the new black media had no problem saying cash payments, but the general population was real squeamish and they kind of bashful, and white politicians started seeing that folks would back down when they said, well, when you say reparations, what do you mean? So they were checking people and making them admit, well, they know you were too squeamish to say cash payments because, oh, you want a handout. And I understood that I wasn't afraid to say money because I'm never afraid to tell you about the money. But I realized the general population, as emotionally they will respond and be very squeamish and very bashful and quite frankly timid about simply saying reparations is cash payments. You took cash from us. That's what needs to be given back, among other things. We're going to start there though. So I coined the phrase cut the check and then started beating it like a drum. And eventually, actually in rather short order, it caught on. You heard Steyer and other folks there. He was running for president, billionaire, and they're talking about cut the check. It's like, oh, it's caught on. They heard it at the very highest levels. Now folks had something that they could use that clearly indicated what you came for. However, in a manner that was more easily digestible. So they wanted it. And this was something that they weren't so bashful and weren't so shy about saying. And you can't interpret that phrase any other way than cash money. Cut the check. We showed up here in Sacramento. What y'all here for? Cut the check. What is reparations? Cut the check. What do you mean? Cut the check. They can't tell you. They don't know what it means. Elizabeth Warren told y'all that. When my folks rained down on her, Elizabeth Warren, cut the check. Check for what? Reparations for what? What do you need reparations for? Reparations for what? Now it's gotten through clearly, and I'm no longer as concerned as I used to be that people were not going to stand up for cash payments. I'm like, okay, can we find a way of saying cash payments in another way that folks would maybe a little less timid about saying, okay, cut the check. Here we go. Here we go. And that's what it's supposed to be. That's me doing my part. In addition to blasting out the message and putting it on the megaphone. In addition to doing that. Now, that's how we got everybody on the same page that we didn't come for education.
Lie.
By people picking up the phrase, cut the check, what does that leave out? That leaves out education and HBCUs, Stephen Bradford. They ain't reparations. We done X that out. Don't come to us talking about education. Don't come to us talking about integration. Don't come to us talking about housing vouchers. Everything we talking about is direct economic benefits. Point blank, full stop. That's all we discussing. And when you go there with the agenda to cut the check, as soon as they start to swerve that you know is coming to, well, you know we're going to give some money to HBCUs. I said cut the check. I didn't say cut the check to the HBCU. Where's mine? And people glummed on to it and adhered to it. And then you see them out there, and you see them out there in significant numbers, and they're showing up and showing out, and that's what it's supposed to be. You see the other shirts out here and whatnot. I just wanted to show you that. By the way, it wasn't just one or two of them. The message got through. The message has gotten through. The message has gotten through. I know it has been a long, hard slog. I understand that. I know that it's been difficult. If the civil rights generation had simply finished doing what Dr. John Henry Clark said for them to do, what Malcolm X said for them to do, we wouldn't have to be here today. But here we are. Here we are. And I know it's been a slog. And a decade ago, there were a bunch of folks and they were wondering, well, Jason, is it doing any good? And is anybody listening? And we ain't never gonna get nowhere with this. We heard them folks a decade ago too, didn't we? Let me be clear about this right now. The same niggas who will sit up here today try to tell you what we're not gonna get, they told you that we weren't gonna get this. You know what you're saying to them now?
And deal with it, nigga.
They said that we were never going to get it codified into law about the land taken from us and its value. Not Native Americans, but us. Well, they didn't take it from you and it wasn't alive. You wasn't alive. You just the descendants. They ain't gonna do nothing for the descendants. And by the way, they told us that this would never happen. Now it's happened right in front of them and they're like, okay, well, that happened, but this other thing over here really ain't gonna happen. But you said the first step wasn't gonna occur either. They told you that everything we were going to get was back in the 1960s and that we could not move the ball forward anymore today. And guess what? There we are. Guess what? There we are. Right there. I know a decade and a half ago, and I started this, it's been over a decade and a half ago now, and certainly a decade ago when folks were wondering what in the world was going to happen. Folks are wondering what in the world is going to happen. I want y'all to understand. In the chat room, Storm Title, you're going to call up when I open up the Zoom. So go ahead and put his page to the side there. We're going to have him call up when I open up the Zoom. We're going to go ahead and get that. They told you what we wasn't going to be able to do. They told you that even this first step, that was never going to happen. Y'all niggas crazy. Remember? Yeah, them niggas crazy. They ain't going to give y'all they ain't going to pay y'all for the land they took. Y'all got to understand. That's why it's good for us to have smaller numbers. I have told you now for going on 2 decades that I have never been afraid of having smaller numbers so long as we have numbers enough to inflict our will. That's all I've ever wanted. I don't want a battalion. I want the special forces. That's what I've always said. Change has never come as a result of the masses and the majority. Change has always come as a result of a motivated few. And that motivated few, you're so powerful in purity when there's a few of you. There's not a bunch of dissension and a bunch of conflict. You're all of one accord, all of one mind. And that allows you to gather one more and one more, not 50 more or 60 more, one more and one more. So you've got this elite group. This elite group that, unlike the big slogging masses, moves around like a great big ass bag of jelly. You're moving like a sword. And that's all I've ever focused on having, is just a motivated number there who are all on code. Everybody's together on that. That's how you move the masses. You don't move the masses by becoming the masses. You move the masses by leading the masses. And when you have a focused, dedicated, committed, elite few, that's how you move the masses. When they see that you're able to step out there and you ain't getting knocked off and you making things move and you will not compromise, here come the masses inch by inch. When you prove it's safe, when you prove that you still gonna be standing, then the masses start to move inch by inch, and then eventually now you've got the masses behind you. Now you have them behind you. Now you have people looking at the situation differently. Understand something. Most people are scared because they've been defeated. Most people are scared because they've been defeated. And the reason for that is because they have spent a whole bunch of times listening to people who have not been able to make anything happen. They haven't made anything happen. And so now they sit up here and say that stuff to you. They sit up here and say that stuff to you. And then next thing you know, they try to pass on their defeated attitude to you. Now, just in case you all were wondering whether or not this was just an isolated thing, I just want y'all to know that, by the way, as the spokesperson for the New Black, as the anchorman for the New Black Media, I just want to put this in its proper context. That is not just California. When they tell you about what won't happen and where it never will, I would like to remind you that this is Tulsa, Oklahoma. What? Oh, you thought we were done in Tulsa because the Supreme Court in Tulsa said XYZ? People, let me remind you yet again, this is not a political movement. This is a social movement. And our liberation ain't up for a vote, and it's not subject to an election cycle. We ain't going nowhere. We're not backing down, we're not backing up, and we're not going anywhere. I mean, you have never seen salesmen as relentless as us. What do you mean? Jason, they said no. I didn't hear no. I heard we'll do this later. And I'm saying later is right now. By the way, folks, now this is dated from August 2nd. But by the way, just last month, in case you all were wondering, Tulsa Commission will study reparations for 1921 race massacre victims and descendants. What? For the victims and descendants. Just in case you were wondering. Just in case you were wondering, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Just in case you were wondering about that. Now, they have an article here that they go into this. I want to bring this to you right here, though. It said in June, the Oklahoma Supreme Court dismissed a lawsuit by the last two known massacre survivors that sought restitution for the destruction. Now, I went down the article to show you this, by the way, this article is after. This has been since that. Now, y'all know I covered the story, but for those of you who may be just becoming channel members for the first time, you're just hearing about this for the first time, this is the first time it's been covered, and just a quick recap for you. Yeah, we covered this when the Oklahoma Supreme Court denied them their reparations then, but by the way, yeah, since then, still on them. It's not going anywhere. And because we are relentless and uncompromising, they are bit by bit, inch by inch, adopting exactly what we said. The victims and the descendants. Lineage. 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 So just in case you were thinking to yourself that this was just California, that all it was, well, Jason, it's just California, it ain't nowhere else. This is why, as the anchorman of the Black Media, this is what my job is, to let you know, by the way, oh no, it's not just there. It's not just there. Not just there. Did you think that the ball, in case you were under the impression that the ball had somehow stopped rolling in Tulsa, Oklahoma, hadn't stopped there either. We still on the job. We still on it. And it will continue. One of my pet projects, am I going to say too much tonight? I'm going to say a little bit too much tonight, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. One of my pet projects is Wilmington, North Carolina. Damn! I just wanted y'all to know. And I've seen a lot of places around this country. I live in one of the epicenters of it, but one of them in particular is Wilmington. We talk about Oklahoma, and we should, we must. We talk about Bruce's Beach in California, and we should, we must. If you want to know one of the places that resonates with me, one of them in particular is Wilmington, North Carolina. Especially when you see what they've been trying to do out there and whatnot. Places like Wilmington and Charleston, but in particular there, because in Charleston, with that Lowe's going up and whatnot, I'm like, that's the real goal. The illegal aliens are one evil, but when you take a look at things like that Lowe's resort that they're building there on the waterfront in Charleston, that thing is meant to be there for the next 300 years. So they want to sell off all the beachfront and sell off all the prime real estate and get that taken up by huge mega conglomerates. Oh, well, we can't get that right there. That belongs to Lowe's. And you know what that means? We are going to have to introduce these devils to a brand new term. Although it's not a new term, it's a term they will be familiar with, but we will have to introduce them to a new term. And that new term will be divestment. What? Divestiture. Jason, did I hear that right? Yes. Yes, you see, I mean, yes, you did build the resort there. Yes, you certainly did. And yes, you did build the hotel there. Yes, you certainly did. But this area has been under dispute. Well, Jason, where exactly would you be going with this? Do you want us to tear down the Lowe's? No, absolutely not. As a matter of fact, I insist that the Lowe's stay where it is. People, this is going to be a little bit of a radical concept to many of you here tonight, but it actually has standing in legality. It has standing in legality. I think that Lowe's should stay exactly where it is, but you are going to have to give proceeds to the descendants. If you go off and start building on contested territory, then if it turns out that there is we have property rights, we have mineral rights, if there is a lineage right, damn, that you are encroaching on, then we're going to have to discuss about how much of the proceeds and revenue from this are going to go to the descendants. So go ahead and finish building these mega structures. Build them big, build them high, bring in the revenue. And don't worry, eventually we'll be presenting you with your invoice for your bill. So go right ahead and do it. You can have it there. As a matter of fact, I insist you finish it. I don't care who builds and develops on it. I don't care who does. But I know what's going to happen when you get done. Now, when y'all finish bull jiving over there and getting all that built up, get it built up nice, big, shiny, bright. Oh, let the money roll in. Let the money roll in. And eventually, we're going to come knocking on your door, and we're going to remind you, now, you knew that this was contested land. You knew this. And you went building there anyway. So we'll tell you what we'll do, because we're nice folks like that. We're going to let it stay. But, you going to be breaking off your cut. Or should I say, our cut. And there are many, many more just like it. Jason, what do you mean? Times Square in New York City.
What?
Which, by the way, if the good Lord say the same, we will be hosting the New York premiere of 8 a.m. in Times Square.
And deal with it, nigga.
You heard me correctly. I am currently in negotiations. Right now. I am currently in negotiations to have the premiere. Usually we be at the SVA Theater. I opened that market. We made that happen. But I'm currently in negotiations to have that occur. So if things go the way I want, and you all know my track record for getting things to go the way I want, against all odds, I intend to have the New York premiere of 8 a.m. in Times Square. So if you have never been to Times Square in New York, if you've never been there, you just saw it on TV or whatever, if that's the case, then you might want to go ahead and clear your calendar. Just saying. Detailed. When I know more, you'll know more. But by the way, yeah, just thought I would go ahead and fly you a kite. What's the real reason for this? What is the real reason for this? Let me explain to you what the real reason for this is here, folks. It comes down to a simple question. The simple question that Ice Cube asked, what are you getting? What are you voting for? Think about this for just a few moments. What else does our generation have to vote for? You tell me. We supposed to sit over there with dammy, scummy ass Luther Campbell talking about we'll get some housing vouchers? A bunch of old niggas who sold their souls back in the 80s and 90s. Who sat up there and bowed at the altar of whorehouse culture. We supposed to be sitting there with them trying to figure out how to get a housing voucher in Florida. Oh yeah, and by the way, one more thing. The national news media is finally going ahead and saying what the hell I was telling you here the whole damn time. Kamala Harris, that interview she gave, so-called interview on CNN, with her new playmate, Governor Tim Walz, talking to Dana Bash. The national media is saying that interview didn't do any good, and that the only policy that she has articulated talking about housing vouchers that is practically guaranteed to make housing prices go up. What? By the way, they're now saying what I said the whole damn time in the New York Times. Now they said it. You can go look up this article for yourself. Just type in the title in Google. You can get there. Now they're saying what I said the whole damn time. That, by the way, yeah, even if she did do that, such a program is guaranteed to make housing prices go up. Everybody's trying to sell us on every damn thing except what we need. They're trying to sell us on diplomas. They're trying to sell us on degrees. They're trying to sell us on higher education. They're trying to sell us on housing vouchers. But they're not offering these other people housing vouchers. Now, are they? As I pointed out before, they're not giving these other folk housing vouchers. They're really breaking them off cash, to be totally honest. They're making sure they got extra cash in their pockets. We're not giving you a housing voucher. We're just saying, oh, we're going to do much better. To the niggas, Negroes are going to get a housing voucher. You, 0 down payment, no interest. 0 down payment and no interest. talk about preferential terms, and they're not coming to the descendants of the slaves with it, the only people who have actually been aggrieved and persecuted, nothing for us. They're going to folks who shouldn't even be here, and if they are going to be here, they should just get presented with a bill. And by the way, one more thing to the illegal alien ass kissers in this regard here. Because you have a whole bunch of folks sitting up here trying to sell us out and try to rationalize that to us. Let's be clear about something. When you are black, when you are a foundational freedman and you go to another country, you can't go there broke. You got to bring the bag.
And deal with it, nigga.
Let's be clear about that. To all my veterans, to all my passport bros and passport hoes, the bottom line is when you leave this country talking about setting up shop somewhere else, you don't get to go there broke. You can't go lest you bring a bag. You can't go lest you bring a case. You got to bring resources. You don't get to go anywhere talking about, well, if y'all would just go ahead and set me up with a mortgage and some free health care and some free education and whatnot and give me about 50, 70 years and let my kids and grandkids get set up, we gonna do right by you. Like, oh, no. You can't get off that damn plane without a bag. They at the airport. Hey, Mr. American nigga, I will carry your bags for you. Mr. American nigga. That would be $20. You gotta bring a bag. You don't get to come up here and lay up on them free of charge. You don't get to be a leech. You don't get no benefits. If you go anywhere, you got to bring cash money in hand. In other words, you get a bill. In other words, when you go to those people's countries, you get presented with a bill. You get told what you have to pay to support their economy. Well, let me get out here in this damn bean field and this strawberry field out here where they picking the greens at. Come here, Diego, here's your bill. Maria, here's your bill. Consuela, here's your bill. Jose, here's your bill. Well, we just got here. I saw all of y'all pushing eggs out the damn Walmart. Here your bill. If you're going to be here, by the way, here's your bill. Because if you all go to Mexico, you get a bill. You can't go to Mexico broke. That's one of the biggest lies that any person could actually be. Ain't nobody crossing that damn border south, going south, broke. The 2 or 3 people who go. We've done stories about this before. Folks in California and whatnot trying to get cheaper rent. Okay, but the bottom line is you got to pay when you get there. You got to pay when you get there. Ain't no free ride. Ain't no free housing. Ain't no zero down payment. Ain't no zero nothing. Everything moved for $1. Everything moved for $1 when you go where they at. Mexico, Central America, South America, everything moved for $1. Ain't nothing coming free. Damn sure ain't spotting you nothing. Everything come for $1. Now I know what some people are gonna say. I know what some people are gonna respond to you all with. You're gonna hear the usual. Man, y'all niggas crazy. You have to understand the defeateds always respond that way. Y'all niggas crazy. They ain't gonna do that. Y'all hear this crazy nigga on YouTube talking about they gonna tax the Lowe's building on behalf of the slaves. Meanwhile, you literally have the Gullah Geechee. What? Sitting right across the street from that mega structure. I know because I talked to the woman. I got it on video. I ain't said nothing to y'all. But y'all saw me down there in Charleston. I ain't said nothing to y'all. Right across the street from the Harbor Inn. If you need me to be specific. Wonderful, polite lady there. But I talked to the woman. clicked in and locked in with the Gullah Geechee right there. She'll sit there and tell you all about it. And I'm sitting up there showing her, by the way, they building, it look like the damn Great Wall of China across the street from you. Used to have a view of the harbor. Now you got a view of the front doors of Lowe's. Now I'm like, by the way, with her landlord trying to jack up the damn rent. So they gonna sit here and tell you, y'all niggas crazy. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing with that right there. Yeah, she uses the straw and stuff to make things. She does it by hand. She does beautiful work, by the way. She does beautiful work, by the way. The white folk love it. Damn! Did I say that? By the way, the white folk love it. Drop by and give them a bar. But in any case, they gonna tell you, y'all niggas crazy. Ain't nobody gonna, hey, this nigga just talking. Ain't nobody gonna ever do that right there. Why y'all listening to him sit up here and spin these yarns on y'all? Y'all some fools. Ain't nobody gonna do that. That's what they say. But then again, up until last night, those same people were telling you that this wasn't ever going to happen either. Or if it did happen, why, this could never happen in our lifetime. Do you all ever get the haunting suspicion that the folks who tell you that it can't happen are really just giving you wishful thinking?
Alrighty then.
Have you all ever come to that conclusion that the folks who talk against us, it's not that they really believe that, it's that they really hope it. They don't actually know what will or won't happen, but they're hoping that it won't happen. You've seen them. Hell, even here on this broadcast, a few times you've heard them. You know the type. When you force them to start speaking and force them to explain why it is they're saying that, when you can see our unparalleled track record of accomplishment, why is it you're saying that? And then they'll tell you the truth. Man, what y'all niggas gonna do with it? Y'all ain't gonna do nothing but blowing on tennis shoes and Cadillacs. Then when you debunk that one, then the real thing comes out. 'Cause it's not that you're afraid we're gonna blow it all. 'Cause you know everybody's not gonna do that. So what is it you're truly afraid of? Man, y'all gonna mess it up for me. I got my little job at the plant. I got my little pension. I be trying to get, I've been working on them white folks to let me in their country club for 40 years. You gonna mess it up for me? Y'all bringing all this bad attention? That's when you find out what it really is. The Van Joneses in their ilk, that's when you find out what it really is. The Don Lemons. Don Lemon does not favor reparations. Don't let that bastard lie to you. Don Lemon was perfectly thrilled to be the only Negro on CNN. So long as he got individual benefits for himself, he didn't give a good damn what happened to the rest of us. And he showed you why he oiled up and shined up his little fruit booty and gave it to you to kiss. He didn't give a damn what was going on with us. Same thing with Bowling Ball Martin. Same thing with Joy Reid. Same thing with the rest of them. They don't want us to have that because when they take a look at it, it's like, damn, y'all gonna make some moves and I won't have my singular status. See, there's a bunch of folk out there who in their minds, if black folks start rising up, it's gonna make it harder for them to negotiate with the dominant society. That's where it really comes from. if y'all come up, if y'all get more, it's gonna make it harder for me. See, I'm willing to kiss some ass and suck up and do all them things y'all won't do. But if you start getting power, well, my contribution becomes much, much less valuable. When I show up Monday morning, the white folks gonna be telling me, well, don't take your ass back over there with them niggas. Yeah, Jamal, yeah, can we talk to you right here? Yes, we've seen you winking at Becky here for the last few months. Winking at Becky? Yes, she says she feels very uncomfortable with the way you do that. I'm sitting on the other side of the room. Yeah, I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go, Jamal. We're going to have to go ahead and do that. What y'all mean? Go see if you can get a job over there with them niggas. You do realize that's what it becomes, right? You do understand that that's what it always has been, right? You see, when we get together and when we do establish an economic bulkhead, you notice what happens. One of two things occurs. The dominant society either organizes to try to run us off, and if they figure out they can't run us off, then they leave. Boston, Atlanta, Philadelphia. They called it white flight, but the bottom line is when we got together and consolidated in areas, Harlem, Newark, we get together and consolidate. First, they try to see if they can knock us off, and if that fails, then they scatter. But when they scatter, they go somewhere else. They set up a white enclave for themselves, and you go down there trying to get a job, and they tell you to kiss their ass. Economic warfare. So the folks who speak against us, that's the issue that they have. They have an issue with that. They have an issue with us not being helpless. Because they tell themselves that they've carved out a place for themselves and they know what's going to happen. Brothers and sisters from around the world, please understand this next part. You see, I come from the legacy of black excellence in this regard. Many of you from the South, you've come up on the same thing. There's a reason why we created American music. You have not seen a greater university of musical excellence than existed in the black church. The black church built American music. One house of worship at a time. The greatest icons in music that y'all can name before you get to the 1980s all came from the black church. Okay, but the choir directors, before you had the you-know-who's. I'm talking about y'all, music class was like boot camp. Ask me how I know. Music class was like boot camp. For those of you who grew up in the original black church, y'all know music, the choir was like boot camp. Not only that, it was a competition. You didn't have a bunch of mumble mouth dudes and a bunch of mumble mouth chicks up there. I'm talking about they could sing, they could wail, they could vibrato, they could lay it down, whatever you wanted. Serve it up.
Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
And all of it was excellent. I mean, you could put them next to the so-called formally trained, opera-trained people, and they could go toe-to-toe with any of them and beat them any day of the week. No tuxedo required. There were no white folk there to do that. No, we didn't get anything from them. There were no white overseers. There was no white culture that we extracted that from. There were no white teachers. There were no white instructors. That was us, isolated by ourselves. And that was what came out of us, isolated by ourselves. Move on over to when the HBCUs used to be relevant. Y'all know what I'm about to say. Shreveport, Louisiana, all damn day. Bayou Classic. Here come Grambling. Here comes Southern. And ain't nobody watching the football game. That's what the white folk brought. Everybody's coming from, I'm talking about around the world. Here in Shreveport, they come from around the world to see the Battle of the Bands. That used to be a major international event. Used to be. It is not what it used to be, but don't be surprised if it gets back there one day. Battle of the Bands used to be a major thing in society. That used to be the major thing. And by the way, that wasn't something we were given by other people. Correct. There's other cities that got their own versions of it. We talking about the big one though. But that became an international phenomenon to the point that Hollywood got in on it. Y'all know when they started bringing white folk into it, Bring It On, and you know them films. We just sitting there cringing. It's like, Lord, is this what y'all think it is? Wasn't no white instructors there to give us that. There was no white lineage that we extracted that from. That was us isolated by ourselves and what we came up with. Ain't nobody been able to touch it. Oh yeah, one more thing. You have seen something similar among some of the marching routines out of communist North Korea and Russia and China. And we still do it better than those state agencies do. We do it better at our schools than these state agencies that are backed by their own government. And they can't touch one of our schools. What I'm telling you is that, do you understand that that is organization? That is excellence in organization. And the frightening part to the dominant society is you didn't come to them to get it. You've got something that moves better, quicker, faster, more efficiently, more intelligently than anything they got. And you didn't have to breathe a word to them for it. That's frightening. And to the people who they are the students in class who have bet all their chips on kissing ass of the dominant society, us becoming self-sufficient is frightening to them. Jason, why? Because that nigga don't speak the culture. What? Don Lemon don't speak to the street. If the street comes up, that nigga gets run off the block. Van Jones needs to get $100 million from Jeff Bezos because the street ain't gonna fool with him. Hell no, he doesn't want us to come up. He ain't gonna get nothing from the street. If the street comes up, he's a pariah. If you all want to know where it comes from, that nigga at your job always snitching. That nigga at your job always ass kissing. That nigga on the city council always sucking up. They're the first one. Y'all ain't gonna get that. Y'all ain't gonna get that. They're hoping we never get it because they know once we get into a position to call hands, buddy, you got to leave the block. When the block gets to speak for itself, all the fakers and the frauds gonna have to get up off of it. The only reason that they're even allowed to stick around is because the dominant society runs interference for them and covers for them. But if we get into a position where we run it, it's like, yeah, here we go. The code of conduct will be in full effect. Well, Jason, how are you so sure of that? Because the only other thing that's stopping us now is that we don't have black power brokers who call those shots. In Italian society, that was the first rule of business. See, niggas sit up here and get starry-eyed. Why does he keep saying nigga? I sure did.
And deal with it, nigga.
Niggas sit up here and get starry-eyed when you watch films like The Godfather. And Francis Ford Coppola can sit up here and make The Godfather, and Negroes sit up here looking all starry-eyed. Ooh, look at them Italians. Look at them organized and all that old garbage. But did you take a look at the rules? They're showing you from the Mustache Pete, look it up, and the Black Hand. Those were the power brokers in their neighborhoods. And remember the 5 points, the 5 points, the 5 points. You talk about New York City, the 5 points, the Irish, then the Italians, then black folk. You talk about the Irish gangs, the Italian gangs, didn't have mass incarceration until black folk showed up. But when you talk about the Italians, they had power brokers. They had the dude who folk had to kiss the ring. And he was the guy who ran the block. He was the guy who took care of things. If there was an injustice, you didn't go to the police. You didn't go to the politicians. You didn't go to the media. You went to him. You went to him. And the police had to answer to him. They had to answer to him. They had to do that. So they give you these movies in Hollywood where you sit up there and see the Italians doing that. Ooh, they be running things right there, so that you don't have a frame of reference that, by the way, and that's what power brokers are supposed to be doing. That's why they downplay Nikki Barnes in New York. That's why they downplay Nikki Barnes in New York. The idea that you got a black man who runs things, a black person who runs things, they downplay that because they don't even want you to think about it in those terms. They don't even want you thinking about it that way. They don't want you having a conversation about that way, because eventually at some point through some generation, eventually at some point it's going to go down. Eventually it will. Eventually it will. They know full well you keep passing these stories down, you keep talking about this, and pretty soon you start saying, by the way, there's nothing they can do we can't do, and do better. But they don't want you to make that association in your mind. Because then, yes, I said Frank Lucas. Shout out Freddie Gibbs. Yes, Frank Lucas. Straight out to Carolinas, straight up to New York, damn right, Frank Lucas. Run them packages. Yes, sir, I sure said it. Would you like me to repeat it? I damn sure did. I ain't hating on none of them. Wasn't nobody hating on them Italians bringing in the drugs. Niggas want to sit up here and get all religious. Ooh, Frank Lucas. Meanwhile, the president of the United States is killing people by the damn thousands. Ooh, the white folk told me we don't like Frank Lucas. Nigga, go clutch your pearls behind the outhouse. Always got some sanctified niggas. Ooh, Frank Lucas, them rogues. I must remind you that our immortal elder, Dr. John Henry Clark, in case you did not know, sir or madam, whoever you are, in case you did not know, our immortal ancestor, Dr. John Henry Clark, had to remind you, it wasn't the academics who set off the civil rights generation, that set off the civil rights era. It was the gangsters. It was the hustlers. It was the pool hall cats. It was the street niggas. Y'all sit up here and you've been granted a softer, kinder world that's set up here and fooled you. It wasn't your damn mammy and daddy sitting in some college classroom that set the white supremacists running and set off freedom from sea to shining sea and turned the tide against white supremacy. It was the dudes and the women ready to get them up in the streets. That's who did it. Madam C.J. Walker was about that business. Straight from my part of the world, by the way. Straight from my part of the world, by the way. She was out there with the street niggas and everything else. And when she did get her money together, she was like, damn them laws. All the law-abiding niggas was like, ooh, President Wilson wouldn't like it if we did that right there. You don't want to hang out with them ne'er-do-wells. You know, they watching them. Madam C.J. Walker said, watch me. Madam C.J. Walker said, watch me. That's who got us free. Those people. The Michael Eric Dysons are first in line to kiss ass on whoever is the strongest. We will never get anywhere with those academic whores, the Melissa Harris Perrys, the Skip Gates, cause ain't no gangster in them. Our survival is not an intellectual exercise. It's not some academic exercise that we sit around discussing in the abstract. Our future isn't an intellectual exercise, it's reality. You damn right. Frank Lucas, Bumpy Johnson, Nikki Barnes, Freeway Rick, which you can see in my new film, 8 a.m. Would you like me to go on? Geronimo Pratt. Oh, we going all the way in. Eldridge Cleaver, we going all the way in. Malcolm X, we going all the way in. Please let me remind you, Malcolm X was one of the original street cats. Malcolm X, Red Fox, they talked about it. Red Fox talked about when he was younger. Yeah, I knew him. Me and Malcolm used to run around. He wasn't in the movement the way Malcolm was, but by the way, these were the original street cats. Not your academics running around with their caps and their gowns, waving their degrees, trying to figure out if they can get on MSNBC and kiss some ass professionally. Those are not the people who set it off for us. So no, you ain't never gonna sit up here and get me to sit up here and talk stupid when you say, did he say Frank Lucas? I damn sure did. Do you need me to yell a little bit louder? Who the hell else you gonna talk about? And are you gonna pretend that the others were any different? I like Malcolm X. Okay, excuse me. Malcolm X told you he ran the dope, he ran the drugs, he ran the hoes. Malcolm told you that. So you're gonna have to find something else to shame us about. That one's not gonna get it. Malcolm told you that. You're gonna have to find another stick. That one don't hurt. I got respect for the gangsters. I got respect for the G's. I got respect for the street cats. The ones who got a code. I got respect for that. Why, Jason, you talk so genteel and whatnot. Okay, don't let it fool you. I got respect for folks who get things done. I got respect for that. You want to talk about gangsters? Let's talk about Eric Prince and Blackwater, now called Z, now called Academy, now called whatever the hell they call themselves this year. Let's talk about Dick Cheney. Let's talk about George W. Bush. You can blow up 2 damn towers in New York and then get elected and re-elected president of the United States. You want to talk about gangsters? You should be afraid to say their name. You should be ashamed to say their name. You should be afraid and ashamed to say that. Talking about damn me some Frank Lucas. Like we supposed to be worried and scared and ashamed of that. Y'all don't understand how the hell that goes. How it is to be dissidents and insurrectionists under an oppressive government. Y'all don't understand what that is. Having to build it on your own, where you are actually in charge of if anything gets done. We gonna go to white society over there. Okay, the only thing they're gonna help you get done is something that benefits them. Soon as they see it benefits you, all right, get in there and shut it down. Shout out Turkey Leg Hut. Y'all niggas need to pull your pants up. Y'all need, if you don't like the Arabs running things in your neighborhoods, you need to get together and buy some stuff on your own. And then they did it, and what's the first damn thing happened? The white folk got together and conspired against them. First thing that occurred. First thing. They did everything that you said they were supposed to do. Everything you said that we wouldn't need reparations for. If we would just do what they did, y'all wouldn't be yelling for no reparations. Then they did it, and then you showed us all a big ass lie. We're just not playing the damn game with you no more. Bring on the G's, bring on the hustlers, bring on the booty models if they getting it. I'm not asking about none of that right there. Is they putting it in the pot where it belongs? That's all I'm asking. Like it or not, Frank Lucas did that. Niggas was working under him, they were eating under him, and they will tell you we was eating good till the snitching got started. Same thing with Bumpy Johnson. People were working for him, people was eating under him, people were eating good till the snitching got started. Same thing with Nicky Barnes. People were working under him, people were eating good, people was living right till the snitching got started. Don't tell me a damn thing about nothing else. I ain't gonna hear it. Every time we show up, some nigga wants to get saved, satisfied, and sanctified and tell us what the damn rules gonna be. Meanwhile, we going toe-to-toe against people ain't got no damn rules. They kill people who get in their way. Hell, Boeing just killed 2 whistleblowers. What? You want to talk about that? Frank Lucas? Why don't you say Boeing? Boeing just killed 2 whistleblowers. The 2 people who were supposed to go to Congress and testify against them, and Boeing was like, if you can make it to the stand, you can. You can snitch on us if you can make it in front of that hearing. You can do it if you can get there. Kill both of them within, what, a month? But I'm sure your ass would just say that's a coincidence. That's just a coincidence. Things happen. They're probably mentally disturbed, both of them. Well, one of them got sick. Really? Talking about Frank Lucas? Yes, Frank Lucas. And all the others. You want to know why it is the Italians got it good in New York today? I'll give you a few names. Colombo, Bonanno, Lucchese, Genovese, Gambino. That's why Italians ain't worried about a damn thing. Philadelphia, Christian Street, Montrose, damn right I can name the blocks. Done walked it many a moon. I showed y'all for my first documentary, big ass mural of Mayor Frank Rizzo. We know how much he loved black folk. And the Italian market. And the Italians walk that neighborhood with no fear and no concern. And when you go to those places, and I've been to them, other folk learned about it from me. But I've been to them. And I'm not telling you nothing. Only place you can't park is where the Walgreens is. They'll tow your car all damn day. I didn't park there. When you see the sign, I'm like, okay, parking spaces, don't go over there. And whether you go to the chocolate place, or whether you go to the pizza place, whether you go to the little restaurant, let's just keep it real. You can see the mafiosos, and I ain't hating. I'm not hating. I'm just telling y'all, it's like an episode of the damn Me Sopranos if you go to the Italian market after 6 p.m. My people in Philadelphia, any of y'all who live there and done gone there when the sun start going down, I'm talking about inside the places. The chocolate place, which they kind of moved it. You go to those places when it gets about 6 p.m. and you start seeing them all over the damn place. They still there? They still there. Think about that for a few moments. You gonna sit up here and try to make me feel some kind of, we need to deal with the honorable Negroes here. Okay, the honorable Negroes wasn't getting the damn job done. We fighting folks ain't playing by no damn rules. And by the way, yeah, they got a little funky attitude down there at, what's that place? Anthony's Chocolates. That's the name of it. Anthony's Chocolates. You can go down there in the Italian market in Philadelphia. You can go to Anthony's Chocolates. They had a little funky ass little attitude, but I had to go because I'm like, okay, let me see what's going on. What I didn't understand was what happens when the lights start going down, when the sun start going down. It's like, I'll be damned. It happens early in the morning before the stores officially open, and then later in the evening, right before it's time for them to close up. That's when you see them start congregating. They start getting together. Coffee. Yeah, not over liquor. Not over liquor. Coffee. They get together over coffee there. They come in with their leather jackets and their hair slicked back, and it's just like it's a damn episode of Sopranos. And they got them in the back off to themselves. I'm not telling you what somebody else told me. I'm telling you what I witnessed with my own two eyes. And for those of you who live in Philadelphia, if you have the ability to work in those areas, whatever, for those of you who go out, because black folk don't really hang out down there like that. That's really for tourists. Black folk who live in Philadelphia really don't go down there. They kind of just stop up there at the main thoroughfare, which is okay. But, for us tourist people, we kind of go check it out. So we kind of got a little bit of information they don't have. But for those of you who do know to get down, y'all know full damn well, it's not over beer for them. It's over, they get down there over coffee. And I'm not no big coffee drinker like that. So, but yeah, that's what they do. But you can see who it is. And ain't nobody giving them a bunch of hell. Come to us and start telling us what the rules is. Y'all ain't saved. That Nicky Barnes, y'all. That Nicky Barnes and Frank Lucas. Jason, you going straight to hell with Frank Lucas. So we going to heaven with Michael Eric Dyson? That's what's going to happen? Man, you better get the hell up out of here. We got folks sitting up here exercising I'm white and I say so rules on us. I'm not going to play along with that. I'm going to play by the same damn rules everybody else using. And I'm going to do it better than them. I'm not playing by a different set of rules. I'm playing by their rules. Whatever they do, that's what I'm doing. And if I can do it better than them, I'm doing that. And if they tell me ain't no rules, oh, hell. Yeah, I said that. All damn day. And we'll stand on it. Let me thank everyone who contributed to support tonight's program. On PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Nancy King, thank you very much for your support, sister. We appreciate that. Cyberdown 100. One Love, Ranger 1. Javon the Pilot's become a member of the channel here. We appreciate that. My man, Mr. Richburg, is always on deck. Mr. Waits, thank you all very much for your support. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we're going to touch on this and more. This is the Black Channel.
Are you looking for real financial advice? Thornton Financial is here to help. Certified financial planner Jason Thornton specializes in tax and wealth planning. Are you living paycheck to paycheck with no retirement plan? Do you need help with the IRS? Book your free consultation with Thornton Financial today. Budgeting, savings, debt management, and retirement. Even tax debt settlements. Get the advice you need to live your best life. Book your free consultation appointment today. Go to www.thornton-financial.com.
Hi, I'm Mr. B, and I welcome you to visit my website, mrbtheteacher.com. Explore our site for my latest book, my blog, and podcast that are packed with insightful articles, tips, and strategies to help students navigate the educational journey. Need more help? Check out my education consulting and tutoring services for engaging lessons, downloadable resources, and personalized learning plans. Please join us at mrbtheteacher.com today. Thank you all for listening.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slavery and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And we've been discussing the events out in California. We've been discussing that, and that it's a good day. It is a good day. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way that's supposed to happen. We are staying focused. We are staying on code. Folks out there are not believing things, and that's okay. We don't need them to, because our actions don't require their belief. It just requires ours. Over a decade ago, there were a whole bunch of folk telling y'all all about what wasn't going to happen, what couldn't happen, what was never going to occur, what was not about to happen. And I'm holding a nice program to show you all here that our enemies are showing their true colors. But we're showing ours. And it's not just in one place. If anything, I hope that I've given you the psychology for us to take into the future. When folks say, Jason, how long we supposed to push for reparations? Till we get it. Well, how long will that be? As long as it takes. There is no deadline. There is no date. We gonna be here till it gets dropped off. But understand, the bill gets bigger by the day. Remember that these people are not going to submit because of their will. They're going to submit because of ours. Everyone's going to tell you that it's impossible, because I need y'all to understand most people are weak. Most people are easily intimidated. We would not be in the situation that we're in now if most people weren't. Most people in humanity, period, are timid. But in the system of white supremacy, as our immortal ancestor, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing taught us, they infantilize you. So they have a situation here where you start arguing against simple logic. Ladies and gentlemen from around the world, specifically ladies, what is a woman? What? Might need to ask Kamala Harris, because she doesn't know. What's a woman? Well, if you got 2 X chromosomes, simple as that. They got y'all arguing that that's not what makes a woman. It's something else. Well, if you have ovaries and fallopian tubes in the uterus, If you produce a certain amount of estrogen, that's not a woman. If you let them, they'll sit up here and have you arguing that 2 + 2 is 6 or 7 or 9 or whatever they want it to be. Do you understand that? So you cannot listen to the masses and you cannot be easily led, because the folks who want to easily lead you will sit up here and have you arguing with complete and total insanity. They will tell you that no word, no amount of money, nothing means anything. It just means whatever they tell you it means today. Whatever they tell you it means today, that's what it means. And when they come back tomorrow, if they tell you it means something different, then it means something different. You cannot afford to sit up here and let other folk intimidate you. You can't afford to be timid, because eventually they're going to tell you, as a matter of fact, wasn't no slavery, wasn't no oppression, and oh yeah, that cardboard box you living in, that's all your fault. Matter of fact, you chose that. Matter of fact, you like that. Matter of fact, you prefer that. For my folks there who have talked to homeless people, and it's not hard, pretty much all of us have, how many of them have you seen sit up here and tell you they like living on the streets? What? Come on now. Y'all done met a whole bunch of folk up here who tell you they like living on the streets. They like living under an underpass. He likes sleeping in the rain, in the cold. Why, sure, I like that. There ain't no rules over here. I got my little box and, got my little ramen noodles. You sit up here and let these people screw your damn mind up, and they'll have you believing and saying anything and telling you you like it. And you'll be sitting there nodding. You know what, actually, I kind of do like this right here. Yeah, I mean, you chose this. I chose this, when they kicked me out of the place and fired me from the job and, harassed me out of college and everything, things happen. Everybody got things to overcome. Yeah, they do. Yeah, but y'all ain't got to overcome that. You don't have to overcome that. The folks who do these things to you, that ain't happening to them. But when it happens to you, oh, well, things happen to everybody. Yeah, but that doesn't happen to you and yours. If you sit up here and let them tell you what is right and what isn't, they're going to tell you that everything that is in your favor is wrong and that the status quo is right. Brothers and sisters, we need to not be afraid to upset the status quo. I told you this decades ago. We need to not be afraid to create some uncomfortable moments, some difficult times, and some uncomfortable moments. We need to create some awkward moments. We need to create some awkward situations. And that includes for Senator Stephen Bradford, by the way. We need to make some awkward moments there, because everybody across the board needs to be on notice. We watching everyone, we holding everyone accountable. And Mr. Bradford, you need to start naming names. Now you sitting up here trying to explain, that ain't gonna fly. But if you're gonna try to press blame and try to act like you ain't had nothing to do with it, that's perfectly fine. You need to come out naming names. We're not gonna play that game. Well, it wasn't me. Okay, fine. If it wasn't you, then name the names of who it was. Starting with Gavin Newsom. Damn! You ain't doing that? You with him. Well, Jason, that could make some hard feelings. That's called politics. They'll get over it. They let them white folks sit up here and make a damn monkey-ass rodeo clown of them every damn day. You gonna get over it? You'll be all right? Tell you what you won't get over, though. What you're not gonna get over is offending us. Now, that one you won't. We're not going to get anything if we don't apply constant pressure. And I'm talking about pressure to everyone. And when they indicate that they feeling the pressure, you ain't supposed to ease off of it. You're supposed to crank it up. Otherwise, they are immediately going to say, okay, as soon as you ain't getting cranking up the pressure, oh, well, they easing back. You let them know, dude, we breathing down your neck. When you crank up the car, when you're sitting in the back seat. When you climb in the shower, we handing you the soap.
What?
And when you crawl into bed, we fluffing the pillow.
And deal with it, nigga.
No diddy. When the nigga get up in the morning, trying to get some cornflakes and some Cheerios, he sits down, he turn around, he grab the box of Cheerios, he sit down at the table, I'm sitting there pouring the milk. What about them reparations? When we get done, Stephen Bradford is gonna think his middle name is Cut the Check.
What?
Along with the rest of them. Ease back for what? Chill for what? Chill for what? He don't want us applying the pressure? Get that bill up in there. Somebody yanked it? It was you. It really wasn't me. Name. If it wasn't you, then you have no problem naming names. Well, I don't know if I can get it right there. It was you. It was you. And by the way, I'm dead ass serious. I'm not even making no jokes. I'm dead ass serious. They so lucky I'm not the paper boy in their neighborhood. Throwing that thing every morning up there at the door. Paper's in this. Got over there and unraveled the paper. Damn, headline, cut the check, nigga. That is the news. Want to remind you of something else right here, too. By the way, this is the way that everyone does it.
What?
Y'all, when you talking about LGBT people, they ain't never done making demands of nothing. Now they're telling you they want to share the bathroom with your children. Remember? They don't never quit asking. The abortion folk, they don't never quit demanding something. Every time you turn the hell around, they're asking for something. Like, we be damn, we told you can kill the kids. Yeah, we want to kill the live one too. What? For the LGBT folks, they keep adding letters, y'all. We're going to run out of letters in the alphabet. Pretty soon it's going to be LGBTXYZ 12385. They're going to have to move over to numbers. Next stop, kanji symbols. Look it up. Next stop, Mandarin Chinese characters. I'm not lying. Okay, every time they get something, they don't never stop needing something. But we show up, okay, we gonna give you this one, but then y'all need to get on now. Y'all need to get on now. That's what we get. They throw one little old half a crumb and then tell us y'all need to get on. These other folks stay camped out. They stay outside their damn door. They throw one law at them. The nigga ain't moved. They all still sitting there. We want another one, like a bunch of dogs you can't satisfy. Throw us another one. Throw us another one. Throw us another one. Okay, that's what we supposed to be doing. This list on the screen here is not long enough. This isn't even all the things we said. No. And we're not even making up new stuff. We actually have a legitimate list that actually has concrete things that once we got that, okay, we'll take it from here. These other folk, they ain't even got a list. They just have a desire. You telling us we can't even have our list. These other folks already got their damn list. Now they moved on to desires, sick or not. No, people. You post up, you camp out, you make things uncomfortable. If you don't show these people that you will follow through with it, you're going to be on their neck and you're not going to get off, that you don't give a damn about feelings. If you don't show them that, they will not take it seriously. Okay, well, all we had to do was pass this law and that settled them down. It's like, no, we're discontent. Well, we gave you this. You didn't give us everything we asked for. Well, we'll see if we can give you a third of it. That's not everything. 50%? I didn't say that either. 75? That's not, you think I'm jiving with you. 99? Nigga, I said all. That's the way we have to play it. And that's the way we will play it. And that's the way we will continue to play it, because this is not a political movement. This is a social movement. It's not going on the time clock of the legislature or the presidential election cycles or any other election cycle. This is a way of life. This is the agenda, and this is our movement of our time and of all time. This is bigger than the civil rights movement. It is more powerful and more pertinent because this eclipses everything else. This is a fundamental change in the paradigm of human history that we are going to keep going until we have corrected and righted the greatest wrong in the history of mankind. That's what our mission is today. You think I give a damn about somebody's feelings? Cut the check. Reparations across the board. And for all of you who jumped in a little bit too soon, you gonna get your bill. You gonna get your bill. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Kenneth Keenan, Mr. Wilburn, Mr. SF Black, David Joseph, Terrence, everybody else there, John Gilroy. Thank you very much for your support. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am simply your brother, Mr. Jason Black, and I am honored to serve alongside all of you. And until next time, all of my brothers, all of my sisters from all around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is reparations.